Hey guys, and welcome to my weekly reading vlog where every time I finish a book, I hop on camera and let you know my thoughts and feelings about it, and then let you know what I'm going to be reading next. There are a number of books that I need to actually get through this time because finding time to film has been a little bit weird. So let's just jump right in with the first book. It is Friday night, if anybody cares. But the very first book that I finished was Late Eclipses by Seanan McGuire. Yay! I did it. It took a while, but I did it. I kind of plodded through the first like 100-ish pages, and then last night I just tore through it, and I read like 200 or 250 pages in the one night, and I am now done. Late Eclipses is in case I didn't say it, it's by Seanan McGuire. It is the fourth book in the October Day series. In this series, we are following October Day, and she is a half fae, half human knight, and she gets called to figure out all the weird stuff that's going on. And partially because she's a knight, but partially because she specializes in weird stuff. So, in this one of her allies has taken ill, which is weird because the physiology of this ally doesn't really allow for being sick. And then another ally gets ill, and then, Toby sees like one of her enemies, and it's and so of course she's just like, I have to figure out what's going on with the sickness. I have to figure out and I have to figure it out quickly so that they don't die. I have to figure out what my enemy is doing here. Are they connected? Got to figure out what's going on. I really like this book. It is a solid 4.5 stars. Part of why I like this book so much is this is where it becomes very obvious that Seanan McGuire went into this series with a lot of world building already done. So it's a lot of urban fantasies. The world building is good, but I don't always feel like it was really well fleshed out from the first book. However, with this series, it quickly becomes obvious that Seanan McGuire did a bunch of planning beforehand, because one of the big reveals that we get in this book, there were clues left in the first 3 books. And so it just makes it abundantly clear that she's really thought this out, and I just so appreciate that. There's some other things that happen which I can't really talk about. I think that the plot is nice. Like, I think it serves its purpose. Once we get past the first 100 pages, I don't love the first 100 pages. I don't think they're bad. They're just not really for me. But once we get past that, it's the downhill slide to the end. Obviously, I read all of it last night, right? But in any case, I do think that this is a very good book. I will have a full review up for it probably later this week. So look for that if you're interested. And then the next book. I started a book yesterday and I finished it today. It's a novella, so, it's not a huge surprise. But basically, because I am in one of the major cities that have basically shut down because of coronavirus, I've been told to stay home. I decided to reach out to a friend and see if she wanted to buddy read a book with me. And the book we ended up choosing is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, the first book in the Wayward Children series. This is a series that is well loved on YouTube, but in case you don't know, the premise is just that there are doors that are portals to other worlds, and kids can go through them, and sometimes they end up staying in the other world, and sometimes they end up coming back. And when you come back, sometimes you're happy to be on Earth and you really don't want to go back to that other world. And sometimes you're really unhappy to be here and all you want to do is go back home. And if you're one of those people, you end up at Miss Eleanor's School for Wayward Children, and that is the premise. Now, in this particular book, we are following Nancy, who is a new student at this school, and almost immediately bodies start appearing. And so they have to figure out who's doing the murdering. And I mean, it's a murder mystery, and it's a novella. It's 169 pages, not super long. This is a really nice series for anybody who has ever felt like a misfit or an outcast, because chances are you're going to find somebody to connect with in this particular series. Also, the queer rep is off the hook. I really like that. It's very beautiful writing. The plot and pace is very, very nice. I highly recommend this series. Also, my friend was really into this. She had never read any Seanan McGuire. So, also a recommendation from her. And let's get into the books that I am actually in the middle of. And the first one is The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. This is the first book in the Invisible Library series, which I had just learned about from Kayla over at krakentoagoodbook. This is another buddy read, actually, that I am reading with my niece. So we had decided to buddy read something, and I suggested it. She thought it looked interesting, so we decided to go ahead and read it. We are both into it, man. I am 40-ish pages in, as far as I can tell, and I am just excited to keep reading it. My niece actually we agreed to check in around page 30. She got to it first, and she was just like, I can't wait for you to get here. Come on, hurry up. So we're loving it. But the premise of this is that there are alternate Earths, and there's also a library which seems to exist outside of these alternate worlds. But we are following Irene, who is a librarian at the library, and she gets sent off on missions to these alternate Earths to collect rare manuscripts and books and bring them back to the library. And she is immediately, pretty quickly into this book, she is sent to a world which is a high hazard kind of world with a new assistant, Kai. And she gets there and she is told that the manuscript she is looking for has already been stolen by somebody. So they got to figure out what's going on. I don't have a ton to say about this other than we really like it. It sucked me in from the first page. I think that the premise is really interesting, and I am excited to see where this goes. I should have an update for you pretty soon, dependent on our schedules and how quickly we read. But I'm assuming it's going to be pretty quick. And then the other book that I am in the middle of is Renegade by J.A. Souders, the first book in the Elysium Chronicles. This is the book that I was reading when I realized that I actually needed to put this one down and read late Eclipses. Otherwise, I was going to be horribly off schedule if I wanted to actually finish the Toby Day series before September 1st. And so now I'm able to pick this back up. I am on page 114. This book is about Evelyn Winters, who is being groomed to be the next leader of this kingdom that happens to exist underneath the sea, in a biodome. And a surface dweller kind of comes down, and Evelyn is sent to interrogate him, and she quickly realizes that her memories are being messed with, and maybe not everything is as it seems. So I have gotten to the point where she realizes that her memories have been messed with, and she's kind of trying to figure out her way around this world that she thought that she knew but clearly doesn't. And I mean, it's that whole thing of okay, how many memories have I lost? What have they contained? How do I keep hold of this information that I just received about my memories being, lost, when I could lose it at any point because I don't really, she's trying to figure out all that. And she is also starting to learn some other icky stuff going on. I really like this. The writing drew me in very quickly. I like Evelyn even. She's a little bit naive, but kind of understandably so. All her memories are being taken away. I can forgive some naivete. But I also really liked how the author chose to introduce us to this idea that Evelyn has lost her memory. It is made very quickly to the audience that that's what's going on, and I just really like how they did it. So I like this book and I'm very excited to get back into it. And I am hoping that because we've been um, at home, we've all been at home for almost a week now. So I'm hoping that now that like routines are kind of setting in, that I will be able to find more time to read. And this is one that I am very excited to get into. And I will hopefully have an update for you very soon. But that's all I have, you guys. So until next time, bye. Hey guys, it is Saturday night, so it is time for my end of the week update. And I have made progress on the 2 books that I was reading, and I picked up a third. But let's jump into it first and talk about The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. And so I have read another 35 to 40 pages, so I'm somewhere around page 75. So Irene has made it to her alternate world and is starting her investigation into the lost manuscript. I'm still enjoying it. I don't have much to say. I am finding that I really like the relationship between Irene and Kai. I was not expecting to enjoy that so early on, but I am. But other than that, I don't really have much to say because I only read 35 to 40 pages. Next up is Renegade by J.A. Souders, and I am now on page about 150. And Evelyn has figured out that she needs to escape, and she is trying to figure out how to do so and starting that process. Also enjoying this. It's pretty, I will say, you guys, it is pretty insta-lovey between Evelyn and the surface dweller, which I don't really love, especially because right now it is so prominent. But I'm hoping as they get further along in this escape attempt that it'll kind of like get backburnered because, you know, danger. So we'll see how that goes. It's not enough that it's impeding my enjoyment. It's just kind of, it's slightly annoying to me personally. But I don't know. I'm still really enjoying it, so I will obviously still continue on with it. And then the new book that I picked up. So before I was reading Every Heart a Doorway as a buddy read with my friend Tina, and I finished that. So I asked Tina if she wanted to buddy read something else with me, and she suggested Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo because she's never actually read this before. I have, so this will be a reread, which is really nice. And I had actually already planned on a reread for the Six of Crows duology to determine if I wanted to keep them, if I liked them enough to keep them. So I'm just moving up the timeline a little bit so that I can read it with her. But for anybody that doesn't know, this is essentially just a heist story. We are following Kaz as our crew leader and his band of like misfit crew members as they are embarking on this giant heist that is going to make them rich beyond their wildest dreams. It's a very well-loved series. I liked it when I read it, and I'm excited to reread this now, understanding where the story is going in the second book. I generally like to do rereads after I have read this series because I just catch up. I catch so much more on the reread. But yeah, I'm excited. I am about 40 pages in, so I have already met Kaz and Jesper and Inej, and so things are starting to really get going, and I like it. And I'm excited to get back into it. But that's it, you guys. I am in the middle of 3 books. I don't know how long it's going to take me to read these books because I am actively reading all 3 at once, which is not something I normally do. And so I'm sure I'll slow down a little bit, but you should get an update from me pretty soon, hopefully. And yeah, that's all. So until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.